Welcome to our series, Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin on Two Luckies,
the podcast. This is a series where we rewatch Little House on the Prairie, a show that we loved when we were kids, and we give our perspective on it as adults.
As adults, and I must say, watching it as an adult has been very different.
It's been extremely different, and we found out that their plots tend to have three main categories. They are either dying,
They're crying,
or they are lying.
Lying.
And we figured out that they have 2 out of the 3 categories every episode. So if you want to know what it's like to sit in the car with us and have us tell you a story with categories, you're about to find out. So buckle up. Here we go. For Two Luckies, the podcast presents Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin.
Season 2, Episode 5, Haunted House.
We start out with a close-up of Mrs. Olson, and she is cleaning the glass in the mercantile.
Washing
and
the windows.
Her nose is so close to this window, she's practically fogging it back up as she's trying to clean it. And we see that she's looking out this window while she's supposed to be cleaning it, and she sees a man who's dressed in like some clothing that he really looks out of place from everybody else in town. He's in very somber clothing. He's got a hat on that's kind of dusty. He's got this long jacket on, and he's coming towards the mercantile, and she completely loses it. She says, "Oh my gosh, it's that Mr. Pike." I forgot what his first name was.
Amos Pike.
It's Amos Pike, and there's something wrong with him. And she sends Willie and Nellie off into their residence because their residence is attached to the mercantile. And then she even slips away and leaves Nels to fend for himself. Laura, for some reason, is in the store
right,
by herself. I didn't see anybody else from the Ingalls family in there. And even she's watching this man come in. He's got a walking stick, and he's walking very purposefully over. And she hides in the storeroom, and now Nels is standing there by himself, and this man, without saying a word, he comes up to the counter, he hands over a piece of paper, he's told by Nels that his special order has been received, and he hands that over, and then he has other things to get, coffee and some other supplies. He gets it all together, and inside of the note was the money to the penny, because they had pennies back then, to the penny. I'm a little salty about the lack of pennies in the world now, but I like them. But he has all the money, and before Nels is even done counting it, in the middle of saying, "That's exactly the amount you owe," the guy's already out the door and walking there. But while he was there, we see that he has a beard because Willie and Nellie were peeking through the door, and then even Mrs. Olson's peeking through the door.
Yeah, they get a side view of him.
They get a side view of him, and he's got this white beard, but he's very stoic, and he's very serious, and he is uninterested in talking to anybody, nor did he try to.
And the whole time they're playing this real creepy music.
Yes, they were playing some very you're watching a horror show, old movie kind of music.
Now we're following this Mr. Pike as he's walking along in the field, and he comes up on this, what looked like it was once a grand Victorian-style house.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
But the windows are all boarded up on the outside, and it looks very unkempt. We go inside the house, and it looks like something straight out of the Munsters.
Yes, so if you haven't watched the Munsters, there are spider webs on every single thing. It looks like he had no idea how to clean, and it feels like it's been, really, if you didn't know somebody lived there, you would think it would have been vacant for decades. I mean, it was bad.
So he opens his package that he got at the mercantile.
His special order.
And it's a music box with a little ballerina inside of it, and he starts playing it, and they show this portrait of this woman that looks like it's hanging over a fireplace and 2 candles lit, one on either side. Then he goes to the mirror and he starts talking about, I think he called her Lily.
I think her name is Lily, yeah.
That she would be the belle of the ball, and then you'd tell me you'd love me, but then you wouldn't disappear, or you would disappear just like you did before. So it looks like he's kind of having a mental breakdown, because he's seeing people that aren't there. They're there, then they're not there, and it's all very weird.
In his seeing her, in the mirror, where she's not really there. Like, we know she's not there. And she's holding her dress and she's spinning around like the woman that's spinning around in his music box. But he's missing her. And he mentions that she used to say that she always wanted to stay by his side and then she would just disappear again. And how could you be lying? We knew they had to remember us.
Cuff.
Right off the cuff. Thank you, writers. Now we have a close-up of Laura, and she's reaching up and playing with this massive spider web, saying that she could play it with you. She was gentle enough. And for some reason, they are in a field that is next to this house that's up on a hill, and this house is away from everything else. It doesn't look like it's near any other thing.
Right, it's kind of sitting all by itself up there.
Yes, and unusually so, she's out there trying to catch a rabbit with a box that belongs to Nellie, and Nellie is there, and a carrot that belongs to Willie, and he goes, nah, 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 about that, my carrot, right? And she says, how am I supposed to catch a rabbit if you're making all this noise? And they're with some other girl named Jane. So while they're over there, they say something about the spider in the web will hurt you. That's Nellie's always trying to play tricks on people. Yeah. And she's saying that the spider will hurt her. And then Laura is saying she's not afraid of leggy things. They dare her to go up there and touch the house because it's a house of a maniac, which is not a maniac. The house of a maniac, and if you touch the house of a maniac, then he won't be able to hurt you.
And they said that they had been up there a bunch of times.
And we know that is Lyin. Because Willie says it. I don't remember ever touching that house. So we know that that's a lie. And they get Jane to be Lyin, saying that she had gone up there and touched the house a bunch of times, which is why they needed to do it more than once. We don't really know, but we find out that Nellie was playing a trick on Laura, and Laura says, fine, I'll go up there, but if I touch that house, I don't want to hear anything else about it. So she trucks up there and goes up there, but they're over there laughing, the three of them, tee-hee-hee-hee-hee, that they tricked her to go up there and touch the house of a maniac, because that was what they were trying to say, that Mrs. Olsen had told them that he was a maniac and that he killed people. And we already know, because we've seen this episode, that is a Lyin. So thank you, because after the last episode, we needed some more action.
So Laura's making her way up to the house, and she's kind of approaching it very slowly, and she looks like she's kind of scared. But as she gets up to the front of the house, you can see it's all the downstairs windows that are actually all boarded over. The upstairs ones are open, I guess you could say.
Well, they're not boarded up, but the windows are actually closed, but they're not boarded up.
She was just about to reach her hand out and touch the side, and all of a sudden there was a big bang that came from the front porch, and now she's looking around like frantically, and she turns around and runs away. And then when she gets back to where the kids are hiding out in the bushes over there, they start teasing her relentlessly.
Yes, they're going to do that.
To which she says, no, I'm not scared. My pa would tan my hide because I have to get home and do my chores, and we're going to call that Lyin, because
you had time to catch a rabbit and now you got to run home.
Right.
And she said she wasn't scared, and we saw her. She was scared.
Oh, she's scared.
We're at dinner at the little house, and we have a Carrie report.
Yay, Carrie.
Yay! She's sitting there in a big girl chair, and she's eating dinner, and Laura is over there poking at her food, and Ma's like, what's the matter with you? You're not eating anything. And she asked about Mr. Pike because she was saying that Mrs. Olsen, although Mrs. Olsen didn't say it directly to her, but she was in the mercantile when it was
she
said.
Overheard it.
And Mrs. Olsen was fearful of this guy. And Nellie and Willie, which we heard them say it, were saying that this guy was dangerous. And we find out that Mr. Pike had built this lavish house up on this hill before even the first settlers had been there. And he's an old man. He's entitled to his privacy, and to just leave him alone.
That means he must have built that before Lars came in, because he was the one that settled the town.
Yes, actually, yes. And Lars is Mr. Hansen. Mr. Hansen settled Walnut Grove. And I guess he was there beforehand. I didn't realize that I don't think I really paid attention to that much of it the last time, but now that we're watching it, we're paying attention.
Oh, yeah. It's nighttime at the little house, and we're up in the loft with Laura and Mary while Laura's brushing her hair out, and she is convinced that she needs to go to this Mr. Pike's house, and she needs to take a piece of wood because she needs to bring it in and show Nellie. Otherwise, Nellie's just going to keep teasing her relentlessly. And then you got old Mary sitting there telling her, just forget about it. Pa's going to tan your hide. And she is convinced, even to say, well, he said not to bother him. I'm not bothering him. How can I bother him if he's not there? I'm just there to take a piece of wood.
Well, her reasoning is that everybody knows that Mr. Pike goes into town on Saturday, and if he's not home, then it's not bothering him. And she's going to take Jack with her because Pa didn't say anything to Jack, which I thought was kind of funny because Jack is the dog. So she's taking the dog with her, and she's going to go get a piece of wood.
This ought to be good.
Laura's outside Mr. Pike's house with Jack the dog, And when she's looking around, she all of a sudden decides, well, a piece of wood wouldn't be that great of a thing to get. So now she's looking around on the porch, and these windows that were definitely boarded up, they showed them to us that they were boarded up.
All of a sudden they're open.
Well, now one of them has some pieces of wood that are missing, and the window is actually open, and this black cat is peeking outside, and now Jack the dog sees the cat and chases the cat inside, jumps in the window, and now he's in the house. And she's like, oh my gosh. So now she goes inside, and she is faced with the level of, things are thrown around. There's tables that are on their sides, all of this dust and cobwebs everywhere.
Oh, it was a mess.
It was a mess.
It was a mess.
She ends up having to go upstairs to try to find Jack with this cat. But she goes up the stairs, and she ends up in the only clean looking room we've seen so far is this bedroom that has the music box. And as she opens the door to this clean room, and this only clean room, the cat runs out, and Jack runs out after the cat, goes down the stairs with the cat, and then she goes into the room, looks around, and now she's playing with the music box. She turns the music box on, and she's spinning around like the woman in the music box is spinning around to the music. And it's like, how long were you expecting to be here?
She is just getting in way over
Oh my
her
gosh,
head.
like Pa told you to leave this poor man alone. He has the right to his privacy. He deserves the right to his privacy in his own home. And now not only is she in there, there's this cat's getting chased around, but who even knows where this cat came from?
And who knows when this guy's coming back?
Exactly. And she's just taking her time with it.
Well, since Laura's been mesmerized looking at that music box spinning around, they pan outside, and here comes old Mr. Pike walking back to the house. And it's not until she hears Jack bark, and all of a sudden, now she decides to go actually chase him, catch him, and say it's time to go. Well, while she's doing that, here comes this guy up the stairs. So she turns around and runs and hides behind the wall just outside of that hallway, and as soon as this guy walks in, Jack has to run, knocks over a table, breaks a vase. Now she looks up, and she's sitting in the corner, and this guy's staring right at her, saying, "Who are you?" Laura Ingalls. "You come here to steal something." "No, sir, and we're gonna call that Lyin. You were there to take a piece of wood to get Nellie off your back."
But if you're taking something that doesn't belong to you, that is stealing. So he was correct, and she was a lion.
So after all of that, he tells her to get out and don't tell anybody anything about him. And as soon as she steps out of the house, then she says, "There's nothing to tell about. You're not a maniac. You're just a crazy, mean old man," and then storms off.
Well, and she runs away, and then Jack's nowhere to be seen.
That's what I said. Where's the dog?
We were looking for the dog, but she runs out of there. But she was very sassy to him, especially this man just came home. Your dog broke something of his. You're trying to take something out of his house.
You broke into his house.
Right. You're trespassing in his home, and she was very aggressive with him.
Go Riders.
We're back at the little house. It's nighttime, and we see Pa's got the pipe.
The pipe report.
The pipe report. So he's puffing on that pipe, and Laura comes outside. I almost called her half pint, but that's what he calls her.
Before you get into it, the season 1 shirt.
The season 1 shirt. They're still working that shirt. He's still got that shirt on. But she comes out. Apparently, she had fessed up to the fact that she had gone over to his house when she was told not to do it. She was worried that she was going to get a beating. He said everybody disobeys sometimes, so he kind of forgave her for it. And she was saying she felt bad that she had spoken so harshly to him. So even she knew it, that she had spoken harshly to him. And she wants to go over, and she asked for permission to go over there to be able to say she was sorry to him. He gives her permission to do that, but he says, "I want you to go there, say you're sorry, and leave."
Right.
So that is what she was told by Pa.
That's what she's supposed to do. Of course, he also said to leave him alone outright in the first place.
Yes, he said leave him alone. And
so you can only imagine what's going to happen next.
She was trying to blame herself for the fact that he's locked up in this house, and Pa said that he's been doing that for a lot of years, and she couldn't take responsibility for that part of it. But she is feeling badly that she was very rude.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
Pa seemed to know an awful lot about this guy and his comings and goings, and even when he built the house, and
yeah, and why are the
settlers,
kids so
they've
surprised?
only been living there for a couple of years themselves. So where did he find out all this information from?
Yeah, but not only that, if he knows all this information about him, why don't the kids know anything about him? If everybody, and Laura said, everybody knows he goes into town every Saturday.
So do I detect a little bit of Cryin?
Oh, Prairie. Yes. I thought we were going for a line, but there might be. That might be
a
Cryin. He knows an awful lot about this guy. But she's acting like she doesn't know anything about him. And then she made a statement like everybody in town knows he comes in every Saturday. Mm-hmm. It's a little, they kind of miss some stuff sometimes.
So Laura's outside approaching Mr. Pike's house, and then they take us inside where he's back there again talking to that portrait over the fireplace and staring into a mirror, and you see the ballerina dancing around back and forth, and boy, he really does seem like he kind of lost his mind, but he turns away from the mirror, she disappears.
Well, he's talking to her like he says, it's time for you to come back.
Home, but
yes, it's time for you to come home.
He turns
now.
around, looks back in the mirror, and he sees Laura standing in the reflection.
House.
So right away, Pa said, I just want you to go there, knock on the door, tell him you're sorry, and leave. But what does she do? She just walks right into the house uninvited once again. So they have their little words. They ask what she's doing there, and she's there to apologize to him, and he's kind of snipping at her, rightfully so, I would say, because,
she
that's
just
breaking
showed
and
up.
entering,
She didn't
not
even
once,
knock.
but twice.
Twice.
And somehow in all of that, she convinces him that his house is a wreck, and with the two of them working together, they can get it cleaned up for Miss Lily. I think he said her last name was Baldwin.
And that she even says that she had been upstairs and she knew that was her room. And he said, how did you know that? And she said, because she's so beautiful. And she even told him, you wouldn't be talking to me this way if I was as beautiful as her.
Right.
But she has convinced him to clean up the house because if she comes back, she figures if Miss Lily comes back and sees the house in this state, that she would be upset.
Right, so she's got him cleaning.
She does. He kept calling her a snippety snap, but he did what she said. He took out the rug, and now he's giving it a good shake while she's getting some water from the well. Laura has Mr. Pike over there. He's shaking out rugs. They're pulling up buckets of water. She's got him soaping the windows and cleaning them. He's on a ladder cleaning them. And she was asking why, Miss Lily was in the city and away from there. And he's not fond of the city, but I guess Miss Lily was very fond of the city.
Right.
And that she wanted to be in the city. She wasn't really a country person, and he needed fresh air. And she actually says to him, well, you're not getting much of that being cooped up in this house like this, because, this house is filthy. It's really, really bad.
She's got him wrapped around her little
really
fingers.
does. And even though he kind of gripes at her and things like that, I think she knows that he actually is kind of a nice man underneath all of this gruffness.
Yep.
But now all of a sudden we hear a wagon, and here comes Pa jingling with the team of horses.
It's the dream team.
It's the dream team of horses from the 100-mile walk. And he comes over and she goes, oh my gosh, that's my Pa. I didn't realize how late it was. So now they go outside, and on the porch. Now he was talking pretty friendly with her, but when Pa comes up there, he says, take Laura Ingalls back over the hill. And there was a time where people had control of their children and something like that. And he sounded very gruff.
The funny thing about that whole exchange was they're standing there. Pa was wearing the smirk until that guy started talking to him. And he wiped the smirk right off of his face. And the whole time he's standing there chewing out chas, Laura is standing right next to this old guy with a big grin on her face.
She had a huge, ear-to-ear grin, and she's rocking back and forth on her heels like she's happy.
I guess you heard that. He's like, that's just the way he is. He really likes me.
But she did it. She was like skipping over to the wagon. She was so happy. And I think she actually is assessing the situation correctly, but it was pretty funny.
I don't think Chaz is very good at reading what's actually going on in a room. Because here we are the next day, and Laura's right back over at that house with this Mr. Pike, and they're cleaning up the room and sharing stories. And she ends up telling him that this is probably going to be the last day that she could be there for a while, because she's going to go to Mankato with Pa. And Mr. Pike, what about school? Well,
yes, and she's going to be writing something
right,
about
that it's best to have experience. And that's when we learn that this Mr. Pike met this Lily in Mankato.
She was an actress there, and he sat in the front row, and he courted her while she was acting. And then when she finally started talking to him, I mean, it seemed like it was a considerable amount of time that he courted her.
Right.
And then he came back and built this house.
Built the house, and there was, even before, like he said, it wasn't even a walnut grove. It was just that house in the middle of this field, nothing but the birds. And then it got a little bit personal when Laura started asking him why did she leave, and he got snippety again.
Yeah, but then he explained that she was the kind of person that needed the hustle and bustle of a city, and then she got very lonely being out in the country with just the birds in the grass to keep her company, and that she went back and she started traveling around with this acting like group that she was in.
Right, but she does have this man wrapped around her little fingers.
Yeah, I mean, when she was cleaning the mirror, she stuck her tongue out at herself, and he smiled at her because he saw her do it. Yeah. And they're just kind of cute together. On the way to Mankato with Pa, and it is just Laura and Pa traveling to Mankato, she's asking all about this Miss Lily, and Pa is saying, it's been a long time, and they're probably about the same age as, because... Right. This Mr. Pike is an older gentleman. Right. So he was saying that they were probably about the same age. And while they were in Mankato, she asked if she can take a walk. Now, I was thinking, wow, this isn't modern times. I mean, it was busy in this place. Just don't get lost. He's over there unloading a wagon of some kind of lumber. And she just walks around and she goes to the theater and it says closed all over the front of it. And she's pulling on the door and she walks around the back and she ends up backstage and there's a man back there.
Right.
And he's sitting there and he says, oh, do you want to be an actress? And she said, no, she wanted to ask about Miss Lily Baldwin. And he says, oh, well, we knew and loved Miss Lily, but she's no longer around. She got cholera and she died. So she was Dyin. We knew they couldn't wait. We needed a Dyin in here because, my goodness, they've been slow in our categories lately. But this one, they got it. We got a Dyin. So she had died, and Laura just said, okay, and left. And, I mean, she didn't even say goodbye to this guy. Goodbye.
And I think he said, it was 20 years ago?
Yeah, so Miss Lily died 20 years ago from cholera, and he missed her also, and everybody knew and loved Miss Lily. Right. So she really was a beloved person.
Pa and Laura are traveling back from Mankato, and it looks like they're camped out on the side of the road, and they're having this conversation about Miss Lily and how it's so sad that she passed on. And I'm watching all of this, and I'm really thinking, Pa, you really are clueless. You're just clueless. Instead of telling her, oh, it's one of the facts of life.
And it'll happen to all of us.
And she's going on and saying, I'm going to have to tell him. Do you think maybe that's why the guy's a hermit and locked away and he's still talking about her? Don't you think he already knows this? I can understand if Laura doesn't understand it, but Pa, come on, man. What are you doing?
I will give Charles a little bit of credit, though, because she was saying that she thought that he was without faith because he didn't go to church, Mr. Pike.
Right.
But he did say that it doesn't mean that he doesn't have any faith, that he could be praying in his own way, just like they used to do when they lived out in the prairie. They were nowhere near any kind of church.
I mean, since Pa got to talk to this guy anyway and saw kind of how he was, it should have at least raised a red flag in his mind. Like, yeah, maybe you should go over there alone because who knows what could happen.
Well, he did offer to go with her, and she said no, it was her job to tell Mr. Pike about it.
But she's going to go over there, and she's going to tell him that his wife was Dyin.
Now, Laura goes over to the house for Mr. Pike, and the front door is open. She goes in, and oh my gosh, he must have continued cleaning while they were gone, because Mankato was 3 days out to go to Mankato and 3 days back, and we don't know how long they spent out there. So they're at least a week, let's face it. I mean, they didn't come right back. So they're at least a week later, and the house is beautiful. I mean, he is so excited. Mr. Pike is like dancing up and down the stairs, and she's looking like she just swallowed a frog. She doesn't really want to tell him this. And when she says, I went to the theater in Mankato, he goes up and you can see he knew now. She knows what's happening. And he goes into the room that was his wife's room, and he starts opening up all of these music boxes that he has been collecting for her over the years, that she loved all these music boxes and she just wanted to stay in the city. And then he says that the doctor that had told him that she had died was lying. lying about her dying. And now Laura is crying. So thank you. In one scene, they gave us the trifecta. They were talking about dying, crying, and lying. And when she tries to keep telling him that Miss Lily died, he doesn't want to hear anything about it. And he screams at her to leave, then don't ever come back. And then she goes running down the stairs while she is crying. So thank you. We knew they had to do it. Woohoo!
We're back at the Ingalls house where Pa's just making his way home. We come inside and there's Mary and Carrie sitting at the table.
We have a Carrie report and she's sitting there. Carrie's drawing something.
She's drawing something and Pa, what's that? And
it's Jack the dog.
I think he asked her twice before she finally said, it's Jack. Oh, of course, I would have known him anywhere. We're going to call that
Lyin, because...
If you knew that, why'd you have to ask?
Exactly.
Anyway, he asks about Laura, and Mary's going on telling him how Laura's been so sad since Mr. Pike kind of melted down on her. And we find out she's in the barn. Pa goes outside to talk to her. And the thing that struck me the most about the whole conversation, it's like, I don't understand, Pa. I thought he would want to move on. It doesn't seem like any of them grasp the idea that really if she died 20 years ago and this guy said the doctor told her that, he's known this for 20 years.
Yes, he has known this for a considerable amount of time, yeah.
But Laura's reading the Bible and she's quoting passages from it, and I think she's still looking to help Mr. Pike move on. So we got to see where this one goes from here.
Mary and Laura are on the way to school, and apparently now that takes them past this house somehow, that we have yet to see this place when we've been watching this for a while, right? Well, we've had found out earlier from Mary, where she had told Pa that Laura was so despondent about him not wanting to talk to her anymore. She was walking past the house every day. And on this occasion, of course, Mary's trying to power walk to school because she doesn't like to be late. And she says, if we stay, you can't do anything. You can't go in there. We're going to be late. And
right.
Laura sends her on, and she takes the Bible that she had been reading when she was up in the loft, and she puts it in this log. And then we go inside. Well, and then she runs after Mary, and then we see Mr. Pike came out of the house. And he must have gotten the book because we see him there in the house. He's reading the Bible. And then when he was listening to the music box, every time he was listening to the music box, he saw Miss Lily spinning around, like she was dancing. And this time he looked up at the mirror and the mirror was blank. And he puts his hand on his head and then he walks outside. So something about this whole exchange with the Bible has done something for him, which is what she was trying to do in the first place.
You ever hear that expression, and a child shall lead them?
Yeah, I guess it was true. Mr. Pike then goes out into the yard after he had this revelation, and he starts pulling away all of this brush, and we see a gravestone of his wife. It's his beloved wife. It has the date on it, her name, and he is crying. And I feel bad for him, but at the same time, this is Dyin, Cryin, and Lyin, and we got to get the categories in here.
And this is also why he got snippety when Laura mentioned something about planting flowers outside, and he said, you stay out of the yard. So he already knew. He's
known for 20 years, and he had been spending really the last 20 years lying to himself.
We're back outside, and we have Nellie, Willie, and that girl Jane, and they're playing Follow the Leader, and Willie's the first one in line, and they're complaining about him, and they walk by this tree, and Laura's standing there, and they stop and ask her if she wants to play, and right away, there's Nellie starting it again, because they're outside of Mr. Pike's house now, and, oh, you're afraid of the maniac. And no, I'm not afraid. I just don't want to go over there. And she looks into that log where she put the Bible, and she sees that music box that Mr. Pike had. So she figured out, he took the Bible. And so she walks up to the log, takes the music box out, walks up to the house, and just walks in, and there's Willie showing the bag. She's going in, Nellie.
She's going in, and Nellie's mouth just drops right open. They were shocked.
So she goes inside and says that she's returning the music box. It's too pretty to give away, and we find out that, Mr. Pike read all the passages she marked, and that he really wants to believe.
He wants to believe that Miss Lily is up in heaven, and that eventually he'll get to see her there when he passes away.
So that's how that one kind of rolled off, that he started a little bit of his
crying just a little bit.
Asking Laura to help him believe that, he can get there and see her again in the afterlife too. And she grabs and hugs his head
and she's like petting his hair.
And they kind of panned away from that. So, like I said before, and a child shall lead them.
Well, she led him to the Bible passages, that's for sure. Back outside, Nellie and Willie and Jane are hovering behind a log, staring at this house like they cannot believe what has just happened. And Laura comes outside and they go running up and they're like, what did he say? What did he say? And Laura does a little Lyin, because she says, well, he said he wanted to see you, Nellie, and he wanted to see Willie too. And Nellie is like, oh my gosh. And then they look up at the window and Mr. Pike is over there staring ominously at them. And they go, oh my gosh, we have to go home. And they all three of them run away. And Laura starts laughing and she turns around and he winks at her through the window. She winks back and says, see you Sunday. And then she goes skipping down in the grass and she picks up Willie's hat because he ran so fast that his hat flew off his head. And that's how they left the episode. But they became friends and she did help him. And it was a good episode.
She did, like I said, and a child shall lead them. It's like she was the only one that could get through to him after 20 years.
Everybody just kind of left him alone and they just felt that he had I don't know what they were thinking, but nobody was trying to help him.
I would say in terms of stories, this one actually ended on a good note. If you could say there's a good note to be had, at least, something was offered. But the writers came through for us, and we had the trifecta.
We did. They were dying, crying, and lying. Woohoo! We love when they hit our categories.
So be sure to join us for the next episode, which is entitled The Spring Dance.
The Spring Dance.
And that concludes this episode on Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin on Two Luckies. The podcast.
We release these weekly, and there's a whole bunch of them out already, so go check them out.
We'll see you the next time.
We're out.
Two Luckies, the podcast.
Two Luckies, the podcast. Two Luckies, the podcast.
You made it to the end.
You stayed. Woohoo!
All right, it's fun fact time. I have an interesting fact about Pa's fiddle.
Okay, what is it?
If you think back to season 1, they showed just about every episode he had that fiddle out and he was hee-hawing, he was fiddling all over the place. And he always had the fiddle, the pipe, and the coffee.
Yes.
Now we're in the season 2 and we still have the pipe. They don't really talk much about coffee, but we haven't seen the fiddle yet. And we're at episode number 4.
It's almost like they forgot about the fiddle. Actually, yes, that's a good point. And they have talked about coffee because the first one of this season was The Richest Man in the World, and they were out of coffee, remember? So they did talk about coffee, but the fiddle has been surprisingly absent so far.
I think the fiddle is starting to take a little bit of a back seat.
Just a little bit, but I'm sure they'll bring it out again.
Thanks for staying with us.
Thanks for staying. We appreciate you.